I'm Slahser, and this is my way of playing Leshrac. I prefer going solo offlane Leshrac, maxing Diabolic Edict and Split Earth, and getting ulti whenever possible. My first major item will be Bloodstone, and afterwards I will either get Ghost Scepter or BKB depending on enemy lineup. Leshrac used to be one of my favorite heroes long ago, but I had not played him much in Dota 2 because I thought he was too weak. This changed when I saw the stream of an American player, Pilmalian, who has over 1000 Leshrac games. He made me realize that Bloodstone is a perfect item for Leshrac, and that the hero can be quite strong as a semi-carry. Now I do not agree with all his decisions on the hero, and while he goes mid, I prefer going to the offlane. Leshrac works great both as a solo hero in the offlane and in dual lane. Diabolic Edict makes it very hard for the enemy support to zone you out, and when your Edict is level 2, you can easily get a kill if you catch the enemy support. As soon as you're level 6 and get ulti, it is possible for you to kill their safe lane carry, and you might even be strong enough to kill both if they have a weak dual safe lane. Pulse Nova is insanely strong at level 6 since it starts out at 100 damage per second and only goes up to 130 damage per second at level 11. If you want to go for a kill on the enemy safe laner, be sure to wait for him to try to get a last hit and then cast your stun. This makes a very hard spell much easier to land, especially if you're against a melee carry. I will usually max Diabolic Edict first, then the stun, and getting ulti whenever I can, but if you're against high armor opponents, maxing stun first might be better, since Edict is physical damage. When I get to level 10, I prefer getting stats over lightning. I think lightning is a fine spell, but playing Leshrac this way, getting tanky and being close to the enemy, casting lightning can ruin your positioning. If you like lightning, well then start maxing it at level 10 if you want, but I prefer to be just a bit more tanky, since I know I need to be very close to the enemy to deal damage with my Edict and Pulse Nova. Getting lightning before level 10 will be at the cost of either getting stun or Edict maxed, and since the stun gets easier to land and more damage, and the Edict is great for pushing, I don't like getting lightning before maxing any of those spells. I start the game with Null Talisman and Tangoose. I then get Boots, a belt of strength, then Point Booster, Soul Ring, upgrading to Treads if I need space for Vitality Booster, then finish Bloodstone. Now Treads are not an obvious choice for Leshrac. I get it because I want to get Belt of Strength quickly for the extra HP, and I need to make Treads to have room in my inventory for my next item. After I finish my Bloodstone, I will either get BKB or Ghost Scepter, depending whether or not the enemy has a lot of magical or physical damage. If they have a mix of both, I usually buy both BKB and Ghost Scepter. Don't be afraid of dying when you got Bloodstone. You are quite tanky when you have Bloodstone. Don't be afraid to be the tank of the team. If you do well in the beginning, you can easily become the most tanky hero on your team while still being able to deal an insane amount of damage. Now Yule's Scepter can also be a fine item on Leshrac, since it can help you set up stun, and you can also cyclone yourself while still dealing damage. But since you got Bloodstone already, you really don't need more mana regen, and I find that Ghost Scepter and BKB is enough to keep me alive. My preferred late game items on Leshrac would be something along the lines of Bloodstone, Blink, Boost of Travels, BKB, Ghost Scepter and Shiva's Guard. And of course you can upgrade Ghost Scepter to E-Blade. Aghanim's is also a pretty good item on Leshrac, and you may consider getting that instead of either Ghost Scepter or BKB, depending on the enemy lineup. If you want to deal more damage with Leshrac's Pulse Nova, you can quickly turn it off and on after the second tick, and it will give you some more DPS at the cost of a higher mana cost. But it is quite hard to do correctly in the heat of battle, and if you click one time too much, you will simply turn it off. When you engage in combat, the most important thing is not to let the enemy run away from you. If you cast stun too early and miss, the time casting can lead to the enemy getting away from you. I will usually save my stun until I know they are actually standing their ground against me, or if an ally needs the stun to save him. I have uploaded a full game of me playing Leshrac solo offlane in a game against Eternal Envy as the Leshrac safe lane, so check it out if you want to see how this build can work in real life Dota.